Hey everyone, I'm going to talk about the October Gala reward competition, the NFT that was gifted to certain players, and finally show off a jack-o'-lantern build that you could work with for the next competition. The next competition will be on October 18th, 2022, a few hours after I have posted this video. And the meta for points will be jack-o'-lantern, a new craft that will require 1 pumpkin, 2 wax, and 2 cotton yarn in order to craft. Jack-o'-lantern will sell for 1,000 in-game cash and will give 13,000 points per each. That means 10,000 cash and 130,000 points for a batch of 10. The jack-o'-lantern will be crafted in the Pottery Shop, and the item will be stored in a warehouse. This competition features a boosted cash for some items, but overall the meta for cash will be pumpkins, as they will be worth 15 times more their original amount at 15,500 in-game cash per pumpkin. That's 155,000 in-game cash per batch of 10 pumpkins. You will want to be selling pumpkins at the beginning to remain competitive at or near the start, as it will be the fastest way to build up cash. In case you're wondering if eggs are still an option, they are not. Eggs are no longer boosted in cash for this competition. The reward structure for this competition will be Gala, and the reward structure will be the same as the previous Gala reward competitions, requiring a top 1,000 placement, with better placements having a higher Gala payout. For a limited time, the farmer has become the spooky farmer or possessed farmer. It has a carved pumpkin head, but it also gains a substantial speed bonus. I believe it has a faster movement speed than tractors. That means you won't have to build any tractors, just build regular farmhouses, since these farmers will be faster. This is very useful as it will make building more farmers easier, and it will make collecting pumpkins at the start much faster. And in case you're not familiar with pumpkins, they need 10 water to grow and no longer need any wood for them to grow. The best way to get them 10 passive water would be by getting a town with a river edge. At least one is highly recommended if you want to remain competitive in this competition. But of course 2 or 3 river edges would definitely help. I don't recommend getting 4 rivers. You will want an open world edge or a mountain to be able to place mines down in order to craft iron, which is going to be necessary to craft nuclear power plants, as I also highly recommend you build at least 1 nuclear power plant to provide energy for all the pottery shops in your build. And don't go for oceans, you won't need them in this build. As for which biome you should play on, a forest may not be a bad idea this time, since it provides plenty of ponds at the start, which helps you get enough passive water for several pumpkins when next to a river edge, which is what you want. You could also choose the desert if you want the oil seeps, so you won't have to worry about crude oil, since you will need a heavier gasoline production. For this particular build, I wouldn't choose the plains biome this time around since it has no particular advantage over the others. The next topic I wanted to talk about is this surprise NFT that was gifted to certain players. This was completely unexpected. So some players, including myself, got the Haunted Maze Zone 2 NFT dropped to our wallet. Shortly after, Farmer Michelle from the team at Townstar announced that Haunted Maze Zone 2 has been distributed to all accounts who purchased any Townstar NFT from the store between the dates of August 1st, 2022 and October 13th, 2022. This goes all the way to the flower stations to as recent as the rare water pump sale. It's also mentioned that this NFT will not be sold, so the players who got this will have full control over its value. I don't think they've ever done something like this, and it really makes you wonder what kind of tricks they have up their sleeves to reward the players supporting the game. In my opinion, this was a very good move, Gala makes the players happy with a free NFT that actually has a decent but unique utility. Some players will end up minting and selling their NFT on OpenSea, to which Gala receives a small cut due to creator fees, so they will end up earning some money out of it anyways. But also it will encourage people who got that NFT to buy the other haunted maze zones to completely get the set and get the full buffs. Honestly, I'm even more tempted to get the other haunted zones, but haven't decided on purchasing them at the moment. In case you're wondering what the utility of the Haunted Maze Zone 2 is, it will provide 2 passive clay lumps to surrounding buildings, but this can be doubled to 4 passive clay lumps if you were to own and place all 4 Haunted Maze Zones in your town. If you want more information regarding all the different Haunted Maze Zones and their utility, check out the video I posted on that topic called Haunted Maze Zone NFTs and my thoughts. Okay, time to show off a jack-o'-lantern build I quickly whipped up. No NFTs used. I didn't have a lot of time to spend on this build, so it can be greatly improved. I wouldn't recommend copying it exactly because I encourage you to tweak it to make it even better if you can. I left it running for 2 hours now and it seems to do just about 100 jack-o'-lantern per hour. If you're wondering if this is any good, it's decent. I mean, I believe it should get you into top 1000. It seems like people are getting anywhere between 100 and 150 jack-o'-lantern per hour on average by the looks of it. So this build does use one river edge, and that's because I highly recommend you have at least one river edge like I said earlier. That passive water will save you lots of space. I'm gonna be honest, if you can't get one river edge and have no passive water NFTs, you're probably going to be behind. Sure, you could still get top 1000, but you probably won't get better than the lowest tier rewards. Also, I used 3 nuclear power plants in this build. That's quite expensive, but if you sell pumpkins like I recommend you do, you should have no issue getting all the cash you need for this build. You should be aiming for 400 pumpkins per hour minimum at the start during your pumpkin rush, and that will get you about 6 million in-game cash per hour. And that is a very easy goal. With some effort you can hit 600 pumpkins per hour, and I've heard people achieving over 1,000 pumpkins per hour even with a single river edge. So cash is absolutely no issue. I believe I picked the plains biome, but like I explained before about the biomes, I mostly recommend a forest this time around because of all the ponds at the start for passive water. And the fact that you'll make so much money selling pumpkins that you'll be able to clear all the trees very quickly. I'm using 2 trade depot with 1 gasoline per sale. I have 1 minute delivery times, otherwise you could get away with 1 trade depot if you have low delivery times. You can't get away with 2 gasoline per sale because you will be selling too often. Of course, if you have crude oil NFTs, you may actually be able to get away with that. For gasoline production, I have your traditional passive energy and water drums set up here, except instead of power plants you eventually want to upgrade to nuclear plants for a higher proximity range of energy. I have 4 crude oil pumps to supply the crude oil necessary to refine petroleum and then gasoline. I just want to quickly mention that this build will support the haunted NFTs, the ones that give you crude oil. You can have both of them right here if you have haunted crypts or haunted graveyards, and it'll supply all the crude oil you need for this refinery. Or if you have a haunted wing or better, you could just place it here and that'll be enough. For storage, I am using 2 silos, 3 warehouses, 1 lumberyard, and 1 fuel tank. I'm using 14 loggers, 7 farmhouses, 7 beekeepers, and 2 forklifts to collect items. I'm using 23 trees for all my source of wood. For jack-o'-lanterns, I have these 4 Pottery Shops crafting them. They're able to quickly pick up all the items they need from the nearby storages. The pumpkins are the easiest part. Just need pumpkin patches that have 10 passive water for the best efficiency. I am using 12 pumpkin patches, and this makes about 270 to 280 pumpkins per hour. So about 100 goes towards all the jack-o'-lanterns I make per hour, and the rest gets sold for profit, so I won't run out of money. As usual, you want all your items on auto sell, but for pumpkins and cotton, set the keep amount to something higher, like 20, so you will always have them ready in the silo to use. For wax, you will need beehives. I'm using 14 beehives, which is probably more than what I need, but it works. And I have 14 wild clover fields for all the nectar they need. The nectar is collected by the bees, but the lumber and ceramic bowls have to be delivered by the beekeeper. The beekeeper is also the one to harvest the wax. I have 4 lumber mills making lumber over here. And I have 17 pottery shops making ceramic bowls. I settled for this setup right here, which seems to work great for this rate. I have 4 clay fields with enough passive water on them. The clay usually gets picked up by the forklifts and delivered to the warehouse, but sometimes the pottery shop workers will pick it up themselves. This gives me enough clay lumps to craft around 210 to 220-ish ceramic bowls per hour, but you can definitely bring this up higher by adding another pond and another clay field if you're aiming for higher rates. For cotton yarn, I'm using 15 fabric plants. I need cotton for cotton yarn, of course, so I'm using 8 cotton fields. You can add 1 or 2 more cotton fields to improve your cotton yarn rate, but if you don't find out a way to improve your lumber rate, your build will get unbalanced as you'll be crafting more cotton yarn per hour and less wax per hour. As for these roads right here, honestly, I did not know what to do with that space. Like, this is a quick build I whipped up. I didn't have a whole lot of time to work on it. So if you can figure out something beneficial to do in this area right here to improve the build, go for it. It's awesome. But I didn't have much more time to work on this build, so I just settled on putting roads right here just to let my pottery shop workers get to the warehouses faster. So that's the build explained. It's actually not complicated, at least it doesn't feel like it. Sorry I didn't have as much time to dedicate to this build, but I really had a busy week. But anyways, I hope this was able to give you a good idea on what to build for the competition. Last thing I'll mention is that I updated the Townstar playbook with new information for this competition. Still working on that amazing new update I'm planning. That will come out some other time. I would appreciate it if you could like this video and leave a comment on your thoughts about this competition or my quick attempt at a non-NFT jack-o'-lantern build. Feel free to subscribe if you'd like to keep up with my content. Thank you for watching.